She is absolutely gorgeous and also so cute. I love the shape of her mouth. It's awesome. What's going on, guys? So I have another Duet Night Abyss video. Now this is actually really late, so I hope you guys can bear with me on this, but I actually took a little bit of a break from this game, so I'm back and trying it out again. And Suyi came out towards the beginning of the month, and real quick, I do want to go over how to play her. For those of you guys who are kind of coming back, especially with Camilla around the corner here, I know a lot of you guys are going to be returning, so let's go over Suyi because she's actually really good, and I highly recommend playing her if you're not already. She's awesome. Now this is Suyi, and she's able to ult and go into this like flying mech form, and in it she has melee and ranged combat. Now this giant sword is insane. It just absolutely demolishes everything. We don't have full copies on her. We don't have a completely maxed out build. We do have quite a lot of investment though. You could also just go like full on mech, like super booster, fly around at high speeds, and I just think she's super cool. So in today's video, I'm gonna be teaching you exactly how you should be building her and playing her, and let's just get into it. Jeez, look at that damage. That's so crazy. All right, so this is Suyi. Basically, she's actually very simple character to play. Her regular E skill is basically just gonna make her travel really fast, and anything she crashes into takes damage. It's really simple. It's good for land traversal and to just kind of like fly through missions and stuff like that. Also, it's really funny to just kind of hit everything up. So honestly, that's not even what you're gonna be using most of the time. Most of the time, you're gonna be using her ultimate. Now, her ultimate is really cool. It's going to absorb all of her sanity, give her a bunch of ammo, give her some stacks that are going to enhance her morale, and overall just increase her damage significantly. And you're going to attack with this limited ammunition that's in the bottom right. Now I have 280 of it. Each sword attack is going to take 10 stacks of that, but totally okay. Doing a ton of damage. She also has her ranged attacks that you can kind of just like spam out rockets. The rockets do significantly less damage. However, they hit in AoEs and they track enemies too. So overall, like the rockets are still viable, though I do think that you're probably going to end up using the sword more often and more frequently. I didn't do this in the intro, so real quick, I do want to let you know, I'm going to teach you how to get Suyi at the end of the video as well, and talk about some other incredibly awesome improvements that Duet Night Abyss has also made. Okay, back to whatever I was saying. I don't even know where I'm going to put this. So first off, her skill is just going to do this, you know, the fly around thing. I don't even know how to describe it any better. It's really simple. It has an insanely high damage multiplier, 5,400%, which is ridiculously high. Essentially, you get artificer energy. It's this energy bar down at the bottom. I'm circling with my mouse. That artificer energy is just like how long you can fly, and when you're rising up or like dashing with it, you are actually losing the energy, and when you're like floating or falling, you're slowly regaining it. So think of it like a separate run energy, but it affects how you move in this form. Now the bread and butter of her kit is going to be her ultimate, and when you use it, it actually consumes all of your sanity and gives you what's called soar stacks. Now the soar stacks that you get, if you have 300 energy, you are always going to cap out. Soar stacks cap at 10 stacks. Each one is going to give you 6% morale, and when you consume all of her energy, if you have over 300 sanity here, you will instantly get the 10 stacks or 60% morale boost, and it's going to last for roughly 30 seconds in this specific build that I have. So if we look over here, sword duration 29.28. So yeah, almost 30 seconds, 60% right off the bat, which is really cool. Now the interesting thing when you ult with her is that you get that separate ammo that I showed you, right? We have 300 of it. Well, what it actually is 50% of whatever your ranged weapon's max ammunition is cut in half. However, it does cap out at 300. And essentially when you fire off rockets, you're going to be lowering that ammo. When you swing the sword, you use 10 of it. And at the same time as you're using this, you're going to be gaining these stacks in the bottom left. Now those stacks are called momentum stack. They max out at 100 when you don't have any copies of the character. And if you have 50 or more, she launches a bomb that does 13,000% damage scaling, which is ridiculous. It also just hits really wide. So leaving her ult state is going to be ridiculous. On top of that, she's also going to give sanity back per momentum spent. So that's really important to know, and I will explain why when we get into her copies. Going back to her ultimate a little bit, there's not really much to know with it. However, I do want to just note that you can also boost while you're in your ultimate. So those are things that you can do. She's a character that has a lot of morale scaling, so you do want her to be high HP. No problem with Huaxu though. In addition to that, when you enter her ult, she also gets an ultra shield based on the sanity consumed. This is going to help with morale because it means that if she's getting hit in mid-air, she's losing less HP because she has that shield over her to take the damage first before her HP does. Also, she gives attack for herself and Lumino allies, so by playing with other Lumino characters, they are also benefiting. Now that 300 ammo I was talking about was called Artificer Powder, and it maxes out at 300 rounds. So in the build, I'll show you how to get the max amount of ammo that you can use per run, but I do want to talk about our Introns first because I think they're actually really important. First, Intron is going to increase the maximum amount of momentum momentum stacks to 200, meaning that you instantly, once you leave her ult, if you've maxed out that momentum and gotten it to 200, you instantly get 200 sanity back, even though you just spent sanity. So it means that you can actually get away with not running Huaxu in the right scenarios. However, I would still recommend just running Huaxu because she's ridiculously strong with all of her bonuses and skill damage and stuff like that. Now, Intron 2 is going to also give you free ranged attacks when you are using your ranged attacks in her ult, but Intron 4 and 6 are sort of like the really big ones, because Intron 4 is going to essentially give you a grouping utility when you are using the ranged attacks. So you can actually just ranged attack and you have a triggered chance to group up enemies, and then you can use your sword on them for massive damage, or you can just keep spamming ranged attacks because they're bombs, right? Either way, this reminds me a lot of Neeful. The grab is not nearly as big. Don't expect like a massive, insane room across grab, but it is going to be still really significant. In addition to that, her 6th Intron is going to give her res pen for each stack of sword she has, and she's going to be getting 10 stacks of sword immediately if you have 300 sanity, which is instantly going to give you 45% res pen, which is ridiculous. Also, you're going to be getting extra range attacks whenever you do them, which also massively increases her damage. So very powerful unit. You guys already saw the numbers we were hitting, and she's not even maxed out. We're at Intron 2. Her weapon doesn't have any copies of it, and we're using no copy Wainwraith either. So if we max all this out, I'm sure it's going to be ridiculous. So maybe we'll look at it at the end of the video. But real quick, I do want to kind of go over what I have been running with her. A lot of the auto equip stuff will want you to put on skill duration. You actually don't really care about that, and skill efficiency is kind of similar. The skill duration thing only really affects your sword duration, and you're going to be leaving the state when you run out of ammo anyways. So honestly, it's worth just resetting your ult state every now and then, especially because when you have over 50 stacks of momentum, you're going to get that bomb anyway. So it is worth actually ending your ultimate and re-upping it. So I don't actually think skill duration is super necessary, and you don't need to focus on it at all. Naturally though, you are going to get some. Anyways, the first thing that you want to make sure that you at least are trying to farm for is Wings Inspo Morale. This is a very late game one, but it's going to give you a ton of good effects like max sanity increase, reducing the damage you receive, and also increasing your morale by 66% when your skill range is above 160. And I'm going to talk to you guys about how to get it there, because you're not going to have that by default. In addition to that, the Midnight Sun Skyloom one is going to always be good for every Lumino character, basically, because it has Lumino attack on it. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically attack, but significantly better. And there's not many sources of it. Also, skill intensity and skill duration. The intensity is going to increase basically the damage that you do. The duration doesn't matter that much, but that's why we have 122. We're also running 4 Scorches on here. This is all just attack bonus. It's all going to help us do more damage. And then we're running Typhon's Prime Morale, which is going to give us some more morale, HP, defense, and attack. And this last one, tracking mode, is basically a specific wedge that is meant for her that gives her a significant jump in skill intensity. So this one will be a massive damage increase when she's in her Starfall mode. Now, as for weapons, I actually was showing off Wainwraith, but I wasn't meant to have Wainwraith there. I just forgot to swap it over before I did the showcase. But don't run Wainwraith there if you don't have the 160 skill range to fully get the Wings Inspo Morale to give you the morale boost. You need 160 skill range or higher for it, and so you definitely want to make sure you get that. If you have to sacrifice skill intensity, that's okay, because that morale boost is going to be just absolutely massive. Though just on the skill intensity alone, Wainwraith is an okay option, but the range is also going to affect how far that bomb that you drop hits when you end your ult. So there's a lot of value to getting the skill range, actually. Honestly, the build on the melee weapon doesn't matter at all, though. You just want the effect from the passive. The ranged weapon is what really matters. So this is her signature weapon that released with her, called Fledgling's Gleam, and it's going to increase its max ammo by a significant amount, and it makes it so when a Lumino character uses their combat skill or ultimate and consumes sanity, it grants a ridiculous amount of skill intensity per sanity spent for 24 seconds, and that 24 can increase if you don't want it to fall off at the last 5 seconds before your sword goes away. You can get copies of it, but it's a ridiculous amount of skill intensity. But there actually is an important build for this, and in this case, I've actually maxed out the amount of max ammo increases I could get up until about 630 max ammo, and the reason for that is because once you hit 600 max ammo, you actually get 300 ammo within her ult. So you do need to pay attention to the amount of bullets you have in your ranged weapon, because if you don't, you're not going to actually get the max value out of her ultimate. So it's 100% worth loading up on things like Lilith's Quiver. Even though the reload speed is like not good, you're just going to be in her ult anyway, so you don't care about reload speed on this weapon. You only care about the max ammo increase from Lilith's Arrow Abundance, Fafnir's Arrow, and the Lilith's Quiver loadout. And honestly, the rest of this also doesn't really matter because you're just doing damage with her ults, right? So it's all basically skill damage. This is a full skill damage character. For Genimons, anything that gives Lumino damage is going to be really good. I have Luminelf here. I was experimenting a little bit. There's a new veteran trait in the game now that's going to increase the support and passive skill level, which is basically going to make it so that the passive skill just gives you like more passive Lumino attack, which is always always good for her because again, there's not many sources of Lumino attack in the game. So that's the build. All right, so to show you how she works with a functional team here, you can spam range attacks from afar and they do a ton of damage, especially with all the support buffs. Like we're doing almost 1,000,000 per shot here, but we can also swing our sword and just do a ridiculous amount of damage. Oh my God, up in the 12 million here. Just insanity. This is such a ridiculous amount of damage to be hitting. I feel like we've already power crept so much, but it does feel really good for her to be strong, especially because she's so damn cute. So I'm okay with it. So we have 150 ammo left. We're just gonna swing our sword. We're getting our sanity back for our next one. I'm actually gonna drop the bomb here. We're at 200 morale. Dropping the bomb. And it does a ridiculous amount of damage. Now, as for teammates, there's actually 3 teammates that I really value. One of them is going to be Huaxu because she's going to give you back your sanity, she's going to heal you, and she's going to give you like a ton of skill damage, but also Fina. Now, Fina, I know is like a bit controversial for this character because you're not actually doing weapon damage with her ultimate, right? You're not actually going to get all of the activations that Fina would get for all the extra damage. However, Fina is still a Lumino support that's going to provide a lot of value for your team, especially with her feather procs. As you can see, grants additional Lumino damage, and you're going to be able to get all those feathers on her to thus increase your damage even more significantly. So Fina is still pretty good, but Lady Neefel also is going to be really solid. She's going to increase attack for herself and Lumino allies, which will also help with Suyi. And she's also going to have the bigger tier grouping. So if you combine the grouping with Suyi and the grouping with Neefel, you're basically just going to be able to spam range attacks and blow everything up. Anyone else that's able to increase any sort of like Lumino damage bonuses for allies or any sort of skill damage is going to work out just fine. But if you do have one of these 3 or 2 of these 3 characters built, you can go ahead and do that. And then obviously Huaxu's signature is going to provide some more skill damage for your team, which is significant. And then Fina's is also going to be providing a ton more attack as well. So that's what I recommend, but you can totally use Neefel, and Neefel's really, really good too. And lastly, I'm going to activate all of her Introns because I just would like you to see the carnage and the havoc that we can reap with max Introns. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and ult here, and I'm gonna real quick, I'm just gonna get those guys over here, get these guys over here, and we swing. And we swing. This is insane. These are level 180 enemies. This character is ridiculous. She feels so overtuned. Level 180 enemies. You are not having any trouble with endgame with her at all. So I guess with that in mind, right? Like, that's insane. I wish I could showcase on something harder. I'd have to go spend a couple hours just climbing the endgame tower, which I was actually going to make this video on my main, but I had a lot of demon wedges to farm for, and I figured I'd rather just do that on stream with you guys. So if you guys want to go watch the stream, twitch.tv/Braxophone, that's where I go live. I might go ahead and do all the farming here, but look at this skin, by the way. It has like different tiers to it. Oh my God, dude, that's so sick. Anyways, yeah, she has some alternative skins. There's also this new skin, the Rebel Riff, which I think is pretty cool. She also has the alternate hair that has like the cute little ears, which I'm also a fan of. So I think that's great. And real quick, if you are new to Duet Night Abyss, I'll show you how to get her as well. Once you get to a certain point in the game, you are going to unlock this Echoes of Missteps immersive theater. And once you have the immersive theater unlocked, you can actually go into here and clear acts, and Suyi is in there. If you're seeing this video later on, you might actually have Camilla in your theater. That's what this server is for. I'm a little late for Suyi, so that's what we're getting into. I will have a Camilla video as well though. So if you guys want to see that one, make sure to subscribe for more. And that immersive theater is also going to be where you can get her gun up until Camilla shows up, and then Camilla will replace her. If you want to know where she will go, she will end up going into one of the nocturnal echoes after she rotates out of the immersive theater. So she will end up showing up as a boss drop from one of these bosses. Actually, it looks like it's going to be the beast from Snowfield. So if you're watching this video later, this is where you're going to get her. So that's basically all I have for you in this video, but there is one improvement that I want to show you guys that I think is really, really cool, and you guys should be excited about this because I absolutely am. For some characters, they've actually added an Intron 7 that's going to be a massive buff to them, and it is specific for every single character. It's going to give them some other kind of scaling skill or ability or something. So characters that are maybe like underdeveloped or like underpowered can get buffed retroactively. They are adding the ability for them to do that. So Intron 7 does exist for 2 characters right now, Hellfire and Rebecca as well. Now Rebecca getting this is funny because I already felt like she was really, really strong still. Maybe not in immersive theater if you're not on a hydro setting, but for farming and automatic farming, she's already really good. So they do have access to Intron 7 for some characters. Not everyone has it yet, but they are going through and adding them retroactively, which I am really, really stoked about. That means maybe Berenica gets a giga buff and it becomes like absolutely crazy wacko insano style. You know, I'm stoked for that. DNA has also had a lot of quality of life and system improvements, like adding a secondary password verification, an update to the report system, some new social system improvements, and other system progressions and updates, which will make the game run smoother and easier to revisit. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for more, and I will catch you guys next time. Thanks, y'all.